Captain Eddie Castellan. Welcome to WorldWideWoodTurners.com. Got a few things to talk to you about. First, got to show you the logo and all that stuff. Stick around, it's all coming your way. Again, hi, I'm Captain Eddie Castellan. You're watching a video produced by a group we call WorldWideWoodTurners.com. This is a worldwide wood turning, that's where the name came from. This is a worldwide wood turning club for you, by you, with you, about you. Oh, it's all about you, really. I put this thing together with the help of a lot of good friends and some wonderful wood turners. We all got together after being at SWAT and a couple of other symposiums and said, what do beginning turners and other turners and seasoned turners and expert, if there are expert turners, wonder about? And that's why we came up with this. We're going to cover some things from the base, from the soups to the nuts, as they say, from the soup to the nuts. We'll do that. We're going to start with a real simple project today. I came out a while back and showed you a bowl I did. And this is the bowl, and I'm going to put it down in the light and then do a little close-up on it, show you. This I did out of that, I call it something, a CDX. It's a plywood made for sheeting, and it's really not intended to be a structural thing like this. But I turned this bowl, and I finished it with, I guess the basics. I might have put OB Shine Juice on it, and I may have brushed on some lacquer or whatever. But I showed you this a couple of weeks ago about segmenting and laminating, because these are 1.5 inch segments, and I have them all glued together, and I flattened them out before I glued them up. And I did it with Titebond glue, yeah. And then I put it all together. I only put about 10 pounds of pressure on it to hold it together. No big press or anything, Real simple assembly. And then I chucked it up and I turned it. Well, I chucked it this way from the face on a screw chuck. And I put a recess in this end, and then I could hold the recess to shape the inside. I got to thinking the other day, that might not be the best way to go about this. And why I got to go about this? Because I forgot this. And it sat out here on the table outside the shop while I went and had some, they call them episodes. And I had to refine what I was doing out here in order to keep Worldwide Wood Turners cranked up and going and all. And, thank God for my advisory staff, because they're all chipping in and doing what we have to do. But I got to thinking about it the other day. All right, I put it on the screw chuck, and then I was holding it on the screw chuck in my lathe. And it could be a shop-made screw chuck. You could get the wood-turning screw from One Way or the other chuck manufacturers, and put that coarse screw in there to hold it. And that all sounded really good for putting a recess in to hold it on, or putting dovetails on the outside to hold them on. I'll talk about that in a moment. Then I got to thinking, I'm going to have some waste of them taking a chance. Because if I open in this, if I open into a divot back here, I could be opening it to a weak point of the block. And when it comes off, this thing has been highly trained. It's going to go right here, right there. No, this side of the nose, right there. So I don't want to take the chance. I don't want to build the risk into it when I'm building the piece. So in order to eliminate that chance, maybe I'm going to go to a glue block. What I'm talking about. This is a glue block. I just knocked this one off a blank that was sitting over there for about 6 years in a throwaway box. I couldn't throw it away, really couldn't. But I knocked it off, took a couple of whacks with a hammer to knock it off. And it's been out in the weather. You can see it's weathered and stained and all that. So it's been out here for a while. It's been enduring some tough times, okay? And you know what that's about, all right? But I knocked this block off because this is a typical block for me. Now, what would it be typical about it? Well, there's some secrets to using glue blocks that you have to think about. And there's some science to them. Oh yeah, go ahead, tell me. It's a block of wood, you glue on it, and you turn. No, it's not. It's a specifically designed piece of wood to hold that bowl perfectly. Now this is a glue block. This is one, and don't worry about the coloring, it'll explain itself. This is a glue block right here. Now, I cut it right in half. Well, almost in half, I'm not that exact. To show you what the glue block will look like. I'm going to zoom in here. Pardon, the face is going to be in this. But I'm going to zoom in here and show you this. Do you see the block? All right. A couple of things I want you to note. And what did I do with my ink pen? Okay. I'm getting here. I'm all right. I'm okay. That's what I'm saying. I'm telling myself I'm right. This is the glue block. Now, I've got the side that goes to the bowl at the top. Can you see that it's slightly depressed right here? Yeah. I'm going to color that in a little bit better for you. I want you to see that it's depressed a little bit. Not as depressed as I am about this, but you see how it's depressed a little bit? All right, that is on purpose. And it's different than the other end, which is the other end, the piece that goes into the chuck. I want to beat on this drum for about a minute. I'm doing this because, see that darkened area on the top? That's where the glue will go. Right there. Only right there. It's not going to go down in the bottom where I got the dots at. That's not going to get glue. It doesn't need glue. I'm going to hold this thing just like this one. You can see that ring and how it is. I'm going to hold it just with that outside band. And that's real critical to me because when the piece I'm turning moves, and that's going to happen, the piece is going to move, and this moves, and that's going to happen too. If they don't move exactly alike, it'll crack or break off. And then you'll end up with a weak holding glue block. So the profile is, we've put a little dish, and we have a little shoulder, and that can be any shape you want. Yeah, that's not important. But on the other side, we're flipping the block over now, we're going to put a dovetail hold for the chuck. Now, this is really important because I've had people say they went to the wood something store and the guy said, well, that's not necessary. You just get these serrated jaws and you grab it. I don't like serrated jaws. I'd rather the profile jaws, the smooth ones. But I cut my dovetail right here. You see this part right here? I cut this and this because that's where the bearing's going to be. I have one colored for that. All right, let me show you this again. That, where I've darkened right there, is where the bearing is going to be. The jaws are going to grab here and bear against this surface. Never this one. Never this surface. I want the most uniform surface I can get, and that's the face of my jaws. So I want this face and this face of my jaws to be bearing. That's it. And I don't want any trash down in this little valley down here because I don't want that to hold it open a little bit. So if it goes a little bit more positive of a cut, it's even better. But you see how I have that all detailed out? Now, all right, we do that. That's what I'll... why is it? I keep missing stuff. All right. When I have it all back together again, that's what I'm looking at. Now, the glue goes where those black marks are. The chuck goes where the other black marks are. The bearing is where the solid lines are. The dotted line, there's no bearing there. So it's not critical. The whole idea is I can grab a piece, and I'm going to zoom out because you can't handle this. I'm going to grab a piece and hold it, and once I take my glue block, let me get one back now, and I take my ball and I go to the lathe. I'm going to take my glued up piece, or my rough block, or my, I just found this out back. This is gorgeous. I think it's a type of mahogany. It's got some golden grains that pop out in it. And there's very little small cracks in it. But again, it's been sitting out for several years. I say it's been seasoning, okay? But I want to hold the block of that, so I'm going to cut it to the round, drill my hole for my woodworm screw, and then, this is the other piece, right? Then I'm going to hold it on the woodworm screw, bring my tailstock up, and that's real important, until I get it round. And then I'm going to flatten just the bottom, right down here. So if I don't get all the way to the middle, it's okay. Why? I have a depression. Right, I'm only holding on that outside surface. Can you get an idea what that is? That's where the glue is. And this goes right into my tailstock, right on my tailstock to line up. And then I would, when I get it done, I got it glued up and it's between centers, I would reach through the dovetail by just a little bitty bit, just to make sure it's really oriented to the screw that's being spun on. Do you follow that? One more time. This is going perfectly round. I want to get this perfectly round, and then I want to grab it in these dovetails to hold it. And that's going to make everything run perfectly round. Then I can shape the outside of the bowl. I'm going to turn it end for end. Bear with me. My hands and brain aren't working together today. All right, I'm going to turn it end for end and put this in the headstock. Right? All right. I mean, yeah, the headstock in the chucks. And this is going to be over by the tailstock. Now, when I start turning this again, well, let me tell you about that. Heroes are for Arnold Schwarzenegger movies, not for wood turners. If you want to be a hero, go film an action movie. But if you want to be a wood turner, let's think what if. All right, and I like that what if thing. All right, I'm going to put this in my screw chuck and spin it, and I'm going to have my tailstock over here to stabilize it, because it could come apart. I could get a catch. I could break it. Life could happen. All right, so I'm holding my tailstock over here, and that'll give me the support I need to shape it. But when I turn it around, come on hands, don't fail me now, I'm going to have my glue block over here. What am I going to do with this side? Do you know what I call a soft touch? A soft touch, I'll show you picture one. It is a little knob that fits over the end of your revolving center. I use the one-way revolving center. You can use the Jet or the Delta or I think Robust even makes one now. Because he's really got some nice stuff. All right, but I'm going to bring that up here. Why? Because I want a little more stability. I want a little more pressure. I want a little more continuity. I don't want to be a freaking hero. And that's just how it is. Because if it comes off, you remember, right in the nose, and it hurts, I'm going to have my shield on, but hey, things do hurt. So I'm going to bring up my tailstock and put the soft touch right up against it. That'll help stabilize it a little bit. Oh, I know. You've been to those demonstrations in the stores where a guy's got a lathe and he roughs in something and knocks it all out, and you say, hey, I want to go home and do that. You can't. You can't. He had everything that he wanted in his favor at that time. Everything he wanted in his favor. He picked the lathe, he picked the lathe speed, he had the gizmos and gadgets from the manufacturers. I get nervous when I do this. He had all the right items, including the block of wood. Did I say that? He picked a good block of wood. So you don't always get those choices. You're turning a beautiful piece of wood and you're trying to hold it on stuff you have. So you have a screw chuck and you can grab that dovetail, and you've got a screw chuck that you can do it the other way. You've got a live center and you can put that bushing on the end of it. If you don't have a live center, you can do it with the regular center. Just get a little creative on how you're going to do that cone to fit on it. Because remember, it's in tension this way. Just like this, holding it like this. Not a lot of this, just like this. Just to keep this from happening. Can you get all that? This from happening, I'm going to put a bearing on here to keep anything from that. If that happens, you're toast, bud. You're just toast. All right? So I'm going to put that bearing against it. And it can be anything. From a scrap of wood that's perfectly round with a hole in the center of it, that'll bear up against it. I can bring my other tailstock up to, put the point on. You see, it's not the gizmos that does this. This does this. So figure it out. You want to hold between points. You want to put it on a glue block, and I don't throw anything away. this little piece of Paralam that I got from Ruth Niles. She's a good friend. And it's purple and black and gold. The gold is so fuzzed out and mildewed out that it hardly shows. This is going to turn a bottle stopper. Eventually. Eventually. But I want to stick this on a glue block just like that to spin it through and around and see what kind of orientation I have, what kind of colors I have coming out, what kind of shape I can do. Because maybe that stopper doesn't want to go like this. Maybe that stopper wants to go like this. And oh yeah, by the way, I can hold it on this glue block just like this. Harped on this a little bit because I'm out to keep you safe and save you money. Now, all that information came from people like you. And there are openings in our advisory staff right now. Let me tell you how big the advisory staff can be. Everybody can be on the advisory staff. That's what we want. So if you got a tip, a trick, an idea, a design, a project, whatever, you send it to us and we will share it with everybody else in the club. That's the whole wide world. That's why we call it Worldwide Woodturners. So if you got an idea or a tip or a hint, send it to me. I'll use it. I'm Captain Eddie Castellan for WorldwideWoodturners.com. I have other wood I can do this with, man. I got some serious stuff here. Hey, you got a minute? I got a great little tip for you. And this comes from out in the audience, in a crowd, in a group, the pack. I saw something on YouTube the other day, and the amazing part about YouTube, you can put all the crap you want in the world. People look at it and believe it. I do. And I get friends that send me stuff and say, hey, you see that guy? They should go take his tools away from him so he doesn't get hurt. Well, that's all good. All right. But on YouTube, you see some things that you just think you got to correct a little bit. So there was a guy with his drill press, and it wasn't drilling straight. It was coming out of pen blanks at an angle. So on this end, he'd be dead center. On this end, he'd be off center. He was trying to figure out what went wrong and how to fix that bed. Couple of things there you should consider. Number one thing is, what are you drilling with? And number two, how fast is it going? Then number three, how you're holding it. And fourth, how fast are you going? You see, it's more than just putting a stick in a pen vise or a pair of screw locks or holding it by hand. Don't do that too much, okay? That really scares me. Because if it comes out, that's where it's going to go. Free hand. Ugh. All right. But I've seen people hold them with vice grips, channel locks, blocks of wood, drill them in your lathe. But I'm going to go back to the first one. What are you drilling with? You see, I have drill bits for doing ink pens and pen blanks and all this other stuff. Even bottle stoppers. And those drill bits never ever touch metal. Never touch metal. Why? If you take a fluted bit and you touch down the metal, you touch in the center. But you take a spur bit and touch down on the corners, the center is going to make contact. But if that corner touches, this corner touches first and this one doesn't, the one that touched first is going to be duller than this one. Think about it in slow motion. It does happen. It happens that fast. It happens that serious. So is the drill bit dull? Number one. Number two, is it clean? Now, if you just keep drilling over and over and over and over, and you don't take time to brush out your bit and get the crap of it off, you're wasting your time. Do not oil it. Do not lube it. Don't put wax on it. Don't believe any of that crap in the world. You can't, and I'm serious about it. Do not lube that bit. That won't help you in the wood. Clean will help you. So just brushing off with an airbrush or a little wire brush. I like the one to get a Harbor Freight that's got the little brass wires on it because it's not so difficult. Clean it with that. And then that bit is running. Number one, sharp. Number two, clean. Number three, I'm going to run it slow. I don't believe going really quick on that stuff. So I'm going to step the drill press down to about 800 RPMs, maybe a little bit less. Why? It's not a marathon. I'm sorry, it's not a sprint. It's a marathon. Hey, it's a marathon, which means you don't have to get one done every 10 seconds. If you do, you're doing it for the wrong reason, and I stand by that. If you're doing it because you love this, slow it down. Give it time to cut. And that's the other one. How fast are you going? How much pressure you're putting? Put your hand, turn the drill bit off, take the bit off, put your hand under the chuck and pull down on that bar. All right? Without it being running. Please, without it being running. And feel the pressure that you can exceed by this rotational action and the cam. That's a lot of pressure. It'll push down on it. So if you're pushing down with 1200 RPMs, you could be not cutting wood, you could just be destroying it, pulling it out. And you see shavings coming out, and hey, it's all great. Take a look at the shavings. They should have a little twisties to them because they're coming out from a twisted cut. So if you're horsing it to cut it, drill it, that's one thing. All right, if you got to do that. But let's slow down a little bit. Take our time. I didn't appreciate slowing down until I retired. Hey, I slow down. But if you take your time on it, it'll get better. Now, why? Another reason why it might be crooked. Haha, got you for this one. I was on a rant about what I saw on YouTube the other day. Then a phone rang, and this is Big Eye Productions where I'm working at. And I take the phone calls, take orders for cutters and all this other stuff. So sometimes I got to kind of jump ship, okay? So I'm back. But I saw this guy telling somebody about adjusting their drill press because they were coming out of a pen blank on an angle. Well, they didn't talk anything about how dull the blade might have been, how fast he was drilling, how clean it was, and don't spray the WD crap, okay? All right. But he didn't approach that bed is going to be perpendicular. You get that perpendicular? You didn't think I listened to this stuff great, did you? Perpendicular to the bed. And the bed on most lathes are adjustable this way. You see it? Now I said lathe, huh? What I meant was on a drill press. Right? It's adjustable this way. And I've had one drill press that was in here that was adjustable the other way. So you can actually do a stool or a bench or something by adjusting how the bed would sit. You come in at an angle. That was purposely. But if you want to be plumb, get this plumb, and then I'm going to throw a level in here, you have to be perpendicular to your drilling surface. Now, the problem I have with this guy is he had a roll around drill press, and he took and put the lathe chuck or vise on the bed, and then he put a level across it. Okay, think about this 1 minute. That works really good if the tube holding the drill press is absolutely plumb in both directions. I can't get that on my floor of my shop. Think about that for a minute, but then give it up, because you don't need that. You don't need the vise, you don't need the level, you don't need any equipment, you don't need one of the little things that feel something going on. You don't need that. You need a piece of wire. The wire looks like the letter Z, like Zorro. Okay? And it's just a piece of 1/4-inch carbon wire, carbon steel I get at the hardware store. Yeah, hardware store. And I bent it in this shape. And this is to help me line it up. Now I got to go through a little video to show you how it lines up. I'm going to put this in my drill press, chuck it in, adjust the bed to where I'm barely touching it when I'm swinging it to the right or swing it to the left. Barely touching it. Now, if there's a difference between what happens on the left-hand side and right-hand side, or left-hand side and right-hand side, then it means I have to adjust that table. But what if I had something jam or bind or just trash and crap and stuff, and the bed's not sitting dead flat anymore? And I don't know that. So I want to check it on all 4 points. Yeah, all 4 points. I'm going to roll this thing around. Do not turn the drill press on. Do not. Let's stop right now. Do not turn it on. I don't care if it looks tempting. I don't care if you think it'd be cool. It's dangerous. Don't turn it on. Take the key out, okay? All right, now, we're going to swing it to one side. Then swing it to the corner, swing it to the corner, swing it back. Now, it should be the same distance off the bed at all 4 points. You can use a feeler gauge. You don't do the points in your car anymore, so you got an old feeler gauge. You can use a block of 1/4 inch steel if you want, but you use the same piece on all 4 corners to measure. All you're doing is gauging that bar. Think about this for a minute. And the drill press is coming down. If it's coming down like this, it doesn't matter. It's coming down. And you got to have the other table perpendicular. All right, so this has to be a true 90. There's no level, there's no plumb. True 90 in this profile. That's how you're checking with this gauge. It's a simple little project. You bend your own to fit your own drill press, but then you find out if your table's kicked in and out, left or right, up or down, whatever. You get all that solved right there. And that's going to tell you that you're running perpendicular, and you won't be running on the outside. You slow the drill down, you use a good sharp bit, you keep it clean, you're drilling holes. That tip came from years and years and years of playing in the shop. And I started my career over 50 years ago, almost 60 years ago. And in the shop, that's how they adjusted the big drill press. We had a massive drill press. And the same thing, somebody wanted to make sure it's level and plumb, and the guy running the shop, Wimpy, says, that doesn't matter. And from that point on, I realized it's not level or plumb, it's perpendicular. I hope that'll help you out. Get out and make it. And remember, don't turn that drill press on. I'm serious about this. You will get hurt. Then I got to look at pictures, wounds, and talk to lawyers, and everything else. Man, talk about bum my day out. Whew. This is WorldwideWoodturners.com. Don't do that, man. Hey, WorldwideWoodturners.com collects photographs from its members. That's you. That's right, you're a member. You're a bona fide lock stock member. You can be part of the advisory team too. But we collect photographs from our members to show people in the wood turning world, our world, just how good of work we do. We do. Not what you do or they do. What we do. Got it? Okay. So what you think might be iffy is really your art, your work. I want to show you some of these photographs. I only got a few, and I'm still collecting them. More of that in one moment. Some of the finest wood turning art in the world comes right here. People send it to us all the time for us to use. So if you've got a photograph, all you have to do is send me the photograph. Don't send me the picture. There's a digital file now. We're in a different world, all right? Send me a photograph by email. I got to say it real slow. By email to this address right here. WorldwideWoodturners@gmail.com. Don't send it anywhere else. Send it to this address. WorldwideWoodturners, I'm holding this thing late? Okay. @gmail.com. And we will get the photograph. And the very next time we do a show, or even in the newsletter that we produce, we will include your photograph. Because it's important for me that we all share the best wood turning in the world. There you have it. There's a version of our pen. Here's a photograph of it. The beauty of this pen is it can be anything you want, any way you want it. So if I got a beautiful piece of mahogany to do the body, and I want an accent cap, I can pick up a scrap of wood off the floor and make the cap. Make the cap first. First, first, first. All right? Because it's the grueling part. Now, make the cap, and then I drill the pen. And the pen fits the cap. The cap doesn't fit the pen. The pen fits the cap. Showed you that. So you can do this. And if you want to color it, I've got these water-based colors, markers. I got at the grocery store. And they come in all these weird colors. So if I want a purple and gold pen for LSU, because they're really kicking ass, I can do a purple and gold pen. If I want to do a black and gold because of the Saints, I give them that one loss. That's all right. I can do it black and gold. If I want to do red and white, if I want to do blue and green, I can play with these colors. You can't imagine the pleasure you give somebody when you give them a pen of their favorite team, school colors, or whatever. And it's a simple little project, 9 cents of material, a lot of turning technique, and a lot of experience. And you get that experience, and when you do get done, 2 things. Number 1, I'd like to have one of your pens for the Freedom Pen Foundation. All I want 1. That's it. You send me a lot more, I'll love you. But I want 1. And the second is, I want to make sure you give it away. You have to. That's in the rules. If you make it, you have to give it away. That's why we're here. I'm Captain Eddie Castellan. You're part of the club at WorldwideWoodturners.com.
As we start here, I'm going to put a block into my chuck. You see I put a little dovetail on that? I'm going to show you the jig I use in a minute. But that way when I tighten it down, I'm getting the maximum amount of grab I can, but not really. You see it's closed all the way up, so I'm not getting as good a grab as I really want. So I would adjust it to match my jig my template that I have. Just like when this one is, this block I went and got put in there, you see I got about a 1/4 inch gap right there. And that's the gap I'm looking for. If it's too big, I won't get as much grab. If it's too small, I get absolutely no grab. So we put this little jig up here. Now the jig is simple. I have a magnet in it so I can keep it around my lathe. That is the size of the smallest tendon I can have on the jig. And the size I use is what I cut it out to. Now that's a socket. That would be a tendon. Now if I was going to cut a socket into it, I'd have to be that size. So that is the difference. Cutting a tendon or a jig like this will save you a lot of problems. Now, we've got the piece chucked up round. I brought up my 3/8 inch twist drill bit, and I'm going to go at it very slowly. Now, what I didn't show you, and I didn't have it on there, is a piece of blue electrical tape that makes it my depth stop. See, I'm really high-tech on this stuff. I'm going to go in nice and slow because the tailstock can exude a lot of pressure on this when you're drilling in. And I don't want any additional pressure. I just want it to go to the right depth. And that's it. Right to the blue tape. Hey, if you need blue tape, I can send you some. I'm going to get the cap I had before and mark it on there. Can't find my pencil. I got to use an ink pen. And I'm marking it on there for the length it'll be. That's how long I'm going to rough in my tailpiece. Now, what I messed up on right here, I didn't bring my tailstock up. Now, I'm cutting this, and I want you to see the cut on it. This is using my 3/8 inch bowl gouge. I'm going to go in at this and take slicing cuts. And I say slicing cuts because if I do a drag cut, where I just flip it over and pull it back, I'll remove some material, but I'm probably going to tear up the wood. Now, I've made a couple of passes. See the curly cues coming off? That's what I'm looking for. If it's all coming off in chips, it's not coming off right, and you'll probably be damaging the material you want to save. And remember, this is going to be a fairly thin piece when I get done. So that's it. Look at the little curly cues. That's what I was looking for. That's what you should be looking for. Now, I've got my cap, the length I need. I'm going to cut it off here because it will, when I chuck it up and fit it in, and remember, this pen doesn't have to fit. The pen I turn has to fit. I threw a kink in the works, didn't I? All right, so I'm going to part this off right there, and then I can take this and use it when I turn the pen.
Hey, when you do spend time with your wood turning buddies, you'll learn something. You might learn how stupid they are, but you can learn something and maybe learn what not to do. But I was with a gang of guys, and I call them a gang because it's really not a club, in Napoleonville, Louisiana a while back, and these guys were a trip. About 6 guys got together and they turned fantastic stuff, planning next week's projects, and they do segmented work and stands and vases and everything you can imagine. They did 33 of those bowls for the Beads of Courage project that's held at Waco every year for children undergoing cancer treatment. It's a fantastic project, Beads of Courage. If you need the website, go here to the website and check it out. You'll see it. Maybe you can join in. I'm promise I will get to doing a project to show you more about the dimensions and the lid and everything else, because it can be a really great learning experience. But these guys, I wondered, didn't I? Well, I'm getting back around the block. I went in and the guy had this on his hand. And I'm thinking he's got a midget's rubber on his fingertip. I don't know how to explain it, but a little bit of thing, all right? And then I said, what's that for? And he says, when I'm working with super glue, it won't stick to my fingers. So he got out a couple more, and look, they do look just like a midget's rubber. No offense to the midgets. But they go right on. Okay, guys, you remember these, huh? You were a teenager once. Well, here we go. I've protected my 2 fingers that I would be using with the CA. I can slip another one on my thumb if I need to. When I'm holding a paper towel or to put on a CA or rubbing it in like I did just now, that's what I have. And when I get done, I whoop them off and throw them away. Now, I smashed the wine out of one of my fingers the other day, and it's still tender. And I don't want to get uck in it. So I decided to slip one on, put the ointment on, and then slip it on. It really makes it a difference in healing. But I got a whole box of those things. I'm going to look and see where I got them from and give you the email address. They're coming out of China. It took 3 weeks to show up, so don't get nervous, but they only cost like $2 for a bag full. And if I find a better source, I'll put the better source up. For right now, I'm going to go with these guys in Napoleonville taught me. See? Friends in wood turning world can teach you something.
Going to get back to spinning here. I'm going to take the block, the piece I have left over in the chuck. I'm going to clean off the little piece, and then I'm going to use my party tool. I'm going to locate the center in it because I want to come back and turn this into another cap. If I have the center, I'll know exactly where my drill bit will go in, and it'd take any vibration out. And I'm long enough to get a good size piece out of it. It'd be a little bit of a trick. I went about a half an inch too long with some of the cutting I did here. But I have it all ready to go, and I'm going to drill it, cut it, put it off on the side, so when I do another pen, I've got another one ready. Now, I'm putting in this 3/16 by 6 inch drill bit that I get from MSC Direct. I'm going to put the number up. If you'd like to get that, get the 3/16 because we can put a sleeve in it. Now here I've got it. I've marked my centers. I'll put it between my tailstock and my drill bit. I want you to see this a little bit now. I'm center and center. Now I'm going to turn this on and drill it, but I'm not going to drill it completely with the tailstock. You got to see how this is. Too much pressure on the tailstock. So I got it in about 1 inch now. I'm going to take it out the way. Now you see, backed up my tailstock. And now I've got that hole. I'm going to go in and I'm going to hold it in my hand so I know how much torque is on it. And I have a feeling when I pull it out, it clears. Pull it out, it clears. Pull it out, it clears. And I'm going to get it all the way down to the shaft or where the block is touching the chuck, because that is going to be my mandrel. You see, I don't have a mandrel that'll be 3/16. So I'm slipping on there. All the way up, got to put a little power on here to get it to go all the way. I'm going to crank it up, bring it in. There you go. Now, this is friction fit holding. Friction fit holding. I'm going to bring the tailstock up. And I tell you what, I was shocked. It hit that center point so much on target, it was unbelievable. Now I have this thing being held in friction. I'm going to take my 3/4 inch roughing gouge. I don't like the term roughing gouge. I'm taking my 3/4 inch gouge, knock the corners off, and get it down slick. And then I'm going to take my skew. I'm going to touch up the edges of my skew a little bit with my diamond stone, just a little bit, because I want this thing to be as slick as can be and cutting like you won't believe. So I'm going to touch that edge up a little bit, and then I can start dressing it down. Now, I used my skew because if I went at it with a other gouge and I did a pole cut, I could have some damage to it. See the little damage on this? I did that with a pole cut. You see those tears? Those tears will be there. You can't sand them out because there's no wood there anymore. So I want to be careful and do a good slice and cut. I did a good slice and cut right over the top of it and got rid of the tears. Now it's looking a whole lot better to me right now. To you, it looks like a piece of wood. And now I'm going to put a socket or a tenon on one end. I'm using a 3/8 inch open wrench that I modified to be a tenon cutter. And I think I have a video on that someplace. I can slip it in here, and I know that I won't be any smaller than 3/8. And I'm not going to go all the way on it. I'm going to stay proud of it a little bit. So maybe I'll be about almost 7/16 or so. Yeah, that math we learned in 7th grade does come into effect now. I've got it like that. Now, that's the tenon cutter. And it's a simple device to make out of a crescent wrench. Open wrench, I'm sorry. Now, I have it. I want to see if the cap is going to fit. Now, I do know that I left it proud, so it's not going to fit. But that's where my working with a skew is going to come into play. And that's why I sharpen it up. Because when I want to make the cuts now, I want to take them really fine and soft. So I did that, and there we go. We're getting close, getting really close. And you can see that I only got to remove a little bit. Now, if you overdo it, you can't put it back. So I normally get real close, and then I'll sand it. And let's see. Now I think I got it. That's for the fit. That's the fit I was looking for. I have it on there. I'm going to sand it out a little bit and then dress off that end because I don't want to see that hole later on. That was pressed in by my tailstock, and it's going to go up there again. Now, to stabilize it while I do this turning, if I try to turn it free-handed, there could be some vibration. That's going to leave the chatter. That's going to leave marks. You don't want marks. So now I have it down. You see the pen's got a little bit of a wiggle to it. That would be chatter. And I'm going to sand it off a little bit and then round that cap on the end and get all those marks out of it. Now my cap fits on my pen. That's what I'm looking for. If you want to allow for finish, that's like 2 more passes with sandpaper, and you'll leave some room for finish. Now I got a friction fit cap on the end of my pen and another length and another fit. So I'm going to take my skew once again with the point down. Did you see I had the point down on that? So I can do a deep end gouge or a deep end slice. And I'm going to slice back into this and take that corner, round it off. Now, if your skew walks up when you try to do a bowl or a curve, turn it over. It won't dig in. Now I have it just about where I want it at. See? Fits in there. I'm going to sand a little bit on this because I'm going to put some finish on it. If the boss lets me, I'm going to put a coat of CA on it today. But I'm sanding it. I go 120, 180, 220, 320, 400. And that's a common thing. I'm not going to go nutso on the sanding, but I'm just going to get it dressed up a little bit. Now, I need to check and see what my right end matches my left end. I'm using my micrometer here just to get an idea. I'm eyeballed it, and I'm really, really close. So I want to take it easy when I get to the left end of this when I shape it up, because if I'm too aggressive, that cap won't fit. So, and I'm going to dress it down real slow, and I'm going to take that little button off the end. I'm using my skew. Now, if you're worried about hitting your chuck, because I'm worried about hitting my chuck, I'd put a wood spacer there. Wood spacer would be something I'd drill a 3/16 hole in, slip it on the end, and be just away from the little bit. Now I got it. Now the cap fits on the pen. The pen's got a cap. Well, that goes together, doesn't it? Now, if I wanted to color it, I'd color them. But, I just got the call. Yep, you know what I'm talking about.
Well, we had a little fun. That's what my prototype looks like. Now, we didn't need any special gauges. We used a 3/16 drill bit to drill it out. And we used a 3/8 to drill the cap. Now, I got a 3/16 hole, but I'm going to put a piece of aluminum down in there and glue it in. And that's going to give it some stability. Because if you're using, this is wood that's been treated, maybe it didn't get all the way in there. So this will give it a little rigidity, because you sure don't want that ink pen breaking when your customer's using it or your friend's using it. And remember the deal? You got 9, 10, 12 cents in this? You got to give it away. Oh yeah, next time we get together, we're going to color the cap and put a finish on the pen and get this project out of the box. I'm Captain Eddie Castellan. You've been turned into WorldWideWoodTurners.com. All right, Coach, I'm coming. Boy, she's getting angry. I got to go. And, yeah, unhappy wife, unhappy life.